What's up YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about my top 10 favorite movie musicals of all time. Musicals are one of my favorite things ever. I think they're just so much fun. They usually get you in a good mood. There are a few that are a bit more somber, but even those ones usually have a few songs that just put a smile on your face and get you in a good mood as well. I'm a big music person, and as you can tell by this channel, a big movie person, so combining the two is just a wonderful, fun idea to me. For some reason, people just breaking out into song in the middle of a movie sounds like a great idea to me. Now, I wanted to make this video for a couple reasons. One is, well, I love musicals and I want to talk about them. And secondly, you don't see a lot of the big movie reviewing names on YouTube talking about a lot of musicals, and this is a genre I feel is severely underappreciated. It does not get nearly as much love as it deserves, so that's why we're talking about musicals today. And let me tell y'all, this was a very hard list to make at first, until I remembered something that made this a bit easier. And that is separating the music from the story. And probably the best example of what I'm talking about is a musical like Oklahoma. Now, I love the songs in Oklahoma, pretty much every song in Oklahoma. If we were ranking these based on the soundtracks, Oklahoma would probably be in the top 10, but because of the story, I have a few problems with it. It is a little iffy for me, so it's just right outside of the top 10. It's probably in the top 15, though. So once I realized that, this list became a lot easier to make. I think that in order to have a great musical, you have to have both a great story and great music. So that's kind of a little insight into why these are in my top 10, kind of my general opinion on all of them. They have both the great music and the great story. And I apologize in advance if one of your favorite musicals is not on this list. I unfortunately have not seen every movie musical that is out there. I have listened to and have seen a heck of a lot of movie musicals, but I cannot, nor do I want to, dedicate my life to listening to and watching every musical that's ever been made. Now, I do plan on watching and reviewing a lot of movie musicals on this channel. A few big ones that I have not seen are like Guys and Dolls, La La Land, Grease, and West Side Story. Now guys, yes, I know I have not seen these, and some of you are going to be upset that I have seen some of the ones in my top 10 and I have not seen these. Don't worry, I do plan on watching them and reviewing them eventually. I do want to see them. For whatever reason, I just didn't grow up with these or have not seen them yet. I missed them somehow, so that's why they're not here. And I do want to say and emphasize that this is what my list is currently. Opinions could change eventually as I check out and watch and listen to more musicals. And you know, if my opinions change severely, I do plan on remaking this video, maybe doing a top 20 list, or I came up with the potential idea of ranking every movie musical I have seen, but that is a big project that is at least not very close to getting done currently, but I do eventually want to do that project. Sounds fun, and let me know if y'all would like to see that as well. But we are just talking about the top 10 today because that is a much easier video to make and it doesn't take as much time. And remember, this is just my opinion, and I'm not saying this is the objective, definitive list of the 10 greatest musicals of all time. I'm just saying these are my favorites. These are the ones that resonate with me the most. These are the ones that I think have the greatest songs that fit with my taste in music. So just remember that. And also, please leave your favorite musicals or any recommendations you have for me down in the comments below. I'm always looking for a new musical, always looking for musical recommendations, so please leave those down below. And one more thing, I know this is a long intro, but this will only include live action movie musicals. So like animated musicals like The Prince of Egypt and Aladdin, you know, a lot of the Disney classics will not be included in this list. And also musicals that do not have film adaptations like Epic or Anastasia will not be included in this list, although I do want to say that if we were including all types of musicals, Anastasia would definitely be in this list. I stinking love Anastasia. Alright, I think I've gotten everything I want to say out of the way, so now let's jump into my top 10. Starting things off at number 10 is going to be Descendants 3. Now, I grew up in the early 2000s. That was kind of my era of Disney Channel, the early 2000s to about the year 2020 is probably when I stopped watching Disney Channel right after this movie came out. I was like, okay, unless Disney Channel makes another Descendants film, I think I'm done with Disney Channel. I grew up with a lot of the Disney Channel original movies from that era, so a lot of DCOMs are very special to me. They kind of helped form my idea of what a movie is and my taste in movies. And the Descendants franchise are my favorite DCOMs, actually. This film just has some great songs like Do What You Gotta Do, Break This Down, great ending song for the franchise, Good to Be Bad, Queen of Mean, and I think it has a decent story, but I think it has the weakest story of all the Descendants films, and that's kind of why it's in this spot. I was really debating whether or not I put this one higher because I love the Descendants franchise so much, but the story here is a bit weak. Some of the songs are kind of cringy, and that's one thing with those Disney Channel original movies. There can be moments that are very cringy, and usually that doesn't bother me, but here there were a few moments that I just are hard to watch. They're very cringy, but I do think there is some good messages here. Like, I love when Mal sings My Once Upon a Time, and she's talking about how a stack of lies is not a firm foundation. You cannot build a castle on a mountain made of sand, which reminds me of that, I believe it's in Matthew 7, when Jesus is talking about how the foolish man builds his house upon the sand and the wise man builds his house upon the rock. So I love that. But the story with Audrey being the villain, I felt like they kind of backtracked because at the end of the first film, she seems to have changed and she's come around on the VKs, but here she's kind of jealous of Mal again, and her performance is a bit cringy. I'm sorry, Sarah Jeffrey, but it didn't completely work for me. It wasn't bad. I really enjoyed it for the most part, but there are some moments that are very cringy. And the ending for me is a bit iffy. Like, when they just take down the barrier and let everyone out of the aisle, I'm like, you know there's gonna be a lot of villains coming back for revenge, right? Now, if they just want to say that everyone embraces forgiveness and all that, okay, fine, whatever, but realistically, you're gonna put your people in danger. You're gonna put the citizens of Auradon in danger. So the ending didn't completely work for me, but I still enjoyed it, thought it was a lot of fun. But yeah, those are the reasons why it's in the last place for me, but it is still great enough to make it in the top 10. Next up at number 9 for me is Singin' in the Rain, just such a classic, simple little movie musical. Some people would say it's the greatest musical of all time, and I could see that. I don't agree with it, but I could definitely see where people who are saying that are coming from. It's an interesting little story. You get a little love story in there. You get some, like, it takes place in the transition from silent films to talkie, so you get some behind the scenes. They're like on actual sets in the film, and it's just fun to see kind of the movie making process a little bit in this film. It is funny. It's filled to the brim with great songs like Moses, which is the only tongue twister I can say flawlessly most of the time because of that song. Donald O'Connor's Make 'Em Laugh, Good Morning. Whenever I stay up past midnight, I always sing that song. That song always comes to mind. And then, of course, the iconic Singin' in the Rain. Everyone knows it. Everyone loves it. Gene Kelly just dancing in the rain all happily. Just so iconic. I love this film for the most part, but the story is just nothing wrong with it, really. It's just really simple, and I think 8 and above, I just have much more fun with them. I think they, for the most part, have better stories. But Singin' in the Rain, if you have not checked it out, please go check it out. Number 8 for me is going to be another DCOM, which is Teen Beach Movie. This I thought was just such a fun concept for a film. These two people getting stuck in a musical. Brady, played by Ross Lynch, and Maya Mitchell playing Mac. And how Brady reacts to being stuck in a musical is exactly how I would probably at first react. I would just jump in and start singing all the songs and dancing. And so that's why this musical is just so much fun for me. And you know, Mac, who is not a very musical person, kind of coming around and managing to have some fun being stuck in a musical while also being very concerned with getting home. This is a film I grew up with, so I have a lot of nostalgia for it. My sister was really into it for a long time, so I constantly heard these songs a heck of a lot. I love Fallin' For Ya, Cruisin' for a Bruisin', Meant to Be, Can't Stop Singing, Like Me, Surf's Up. I just love pretty much every song in this film except one, which is the reason kind of it's down here. Surf Crazy, I think, is a really cringy song. I just can't even listen to it without cringing, so that's why it's in this spot, but I think it is a really good story of how Mac is pursuing something she doesn't really love, and come to the end she realizes she needs to pursue something that she loves, that she can't really live a life about doing something that she's not passionate about, and I just love that message. And this film just means a lot to me because my cousins who grew up with the same era of Disney Channel, they love this movie as well. I remember for New Year's one year, my cousin was visiting and we watched Teen Beach Movie and then went outside and watched the fireworks. So I just have a lot of great memories with this film. So that's why it's in the top 10 for me. Number 7 is The Music Man. Oh my gosh, Robert Preston is so charming and captivating. The film is filled to the brim with great music. Light a Rose, Will I Ever Tell You, is probably one of my favorite songs ever, but you also got You Got Trouble, Rock Island, Iowa Stubborn, Marion the Librarian, 76 Trombones, I could go on. This is just such a fun musical about a con man who comes to a town of not the brightest people who easily fall for his antics to form a boys band and try to keep their children out of trouble, but really he's just trying to take their money, and once he takes it, he's running out of town, but he ends up falling in love with the town librarian, played by Shirley Jones, who is a fantastic actress. She was in musicals like Oklahoma and Carousel, which are the musicals I first saw her in, so it's great to see her appearing in this film. I love the Barbershop Quartet, played by the Buffalo Bills in this film, which is one of the reasons I love Light a Rose so much. I think the music in this film is pretty unique. Rock Island in the beginning, when all those businessmen are on the train, are singing matches, kind of the sounds of the train, and they're like bouncing up and down. It's just really fun to watch. The ending, I think, is a little iffy. I'm not exactly sure what they were going for with the ending, but overall, it's just such a fun watch. If you have not seen The Music Man, go check it out. Number 6 is a film that everyone should grow up with. Everyone needs to watch this film. This is the definition of a film everyone needs to watch, and that is The Wizard of Oz. Probably one of the most iconic films ever made. Everyone knows this movie. Everyone loves it. Everyone grew up with it. Every TV show or movie has some reference to it. Not really, but you know what I mean. A lot of TV shows do a parody of The Wizard of Oz. They have an episode where they do a parody of The Wizard of Oz. Once again, this is a film that I, of course, grew up with. I have a lot of nostalgia for it. Just going back and watching this film is just so comforting to me. Just a very simple, fun little story filled with great songs again, like If I Only Had a Brain, If I Only Had a Heart, The Nerve, and then Over the Rainbow, classic, lovely little song. Judy Garland as Dorothy is greatly cast. I mean, what else can I say about The Wizard of Oz? We all know it, we all love it, we all know why it's so great. So it just wouldn't feel right to not have it in the top 10. When I think about living life without this movie, it just does not feel right. So Wizard of Oz has to be in the top 10. Number 5 is going to be actually probably the film on this list that I watched the most recently, and that is Mary Poppins. Now, I cannot believe that I did not grow up with this film. I saw it for the first time probably at 16 years old on Disney+. I knew it was a very iconic, famous Disney film that I have not seen, so I watched it and was blown away by it. I was like, where the heck has this film been all my life? I love this film. Julie Andrews as Mary Poppins is probably one of my favorite fictional characters ever. She's so much fun to watch. She is firm but kind with the children. Mary Poppins is such a fun character to watch. Everyone wishes they had a nanny like Mary Poppins. And this one was really competing with The Wizard of Oz for number 5 spot. But the thing that just edges Mary Poppins out over The Wizard of Oz is I think it has a better, more heartfelt story, you know, reconnecting this father with his children and helping him, you know, realize he's got to spend time with them before they go. This father is missing what's right in front of him, all the lovely things that are right in front of him, and you know what life's really about and what makes life worth living. You know, love for other people, for your family, for those that care about you and that you care about. I love that song at the end, Let's Go Fly a Kite, where George Banks finally spends time with his kids and his wife, takes them to the park to fly a kite. And I love at the end when Mary Poppins is walking out of the house and leaving, and the parrot on the end of her umbrella says, "They love their father more than you," and she's like, "That's exactly how it should be." And I was like, Amen. That is how it should be, Mary Poppins. Good job. And of course, you have to talk about Dick Van Dyke as Bert. Such a fun character. And the song Step in Time, Jolly Holiday with Mary, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. You have to talk about that one. A Spoonful of Sugar, just a great, wonderful song. I apply that in life all the time whenever I have to perform an unpleasant task or a task that I don't really like. I just slow down, take a breath, start singing a wonderful little song, whistling a happy little tune, and it makes the job much more enjoyable, much more tolerable. It just would not feel right to have Mary Poppins in the top 10. Number 4 for me is going to be a film that I actually just watched and reviewed on my channel, and that is The Greatest Showman. Oh my gosh, I won't say too much about this because I just watched and reviewed it. Please go check out that video. I would love the support and appreciate it very much. I love pretty much every song in this film. Great cast, great messages about what's really important in life and being satisfied with what you have, doing what you love, how fame and popularity can kind of get to and affect a person. I just think this is probably the greatest modern movie musical. Just so wholesome for the most part. Very heartfelt story. It gets you excited. It puts a gigantic smile on your face. The Greatest Showman, if you have not seen it, go check it out. Number 3 for me is The Sound of Music, and this right here, folks, is one of my favorite films of all time. If I was asked the question, what do I think objectively is the greatest musical of all time? I'm saying The Sound of Music. This is probably the definition of a musical if I've ever seen it. I mean, the story here is just so much fun. This nun becoming a governess, to these 7 children, helping them reconnect with their father. Very reminiscent of Mary Poppins, and it is actually the same wonderful actress, Julie Andrews, just absolutely nails this part wonderfully of playing a nanny or governess and helping children, helping families reconnect again. Bringing music and life and love into this household is so wonderful and fun to watch. I surprisingly did not grow up with this film either, and how I actually found this film was after watching Mary Poppins. What Disney Plus recommended to me right after was The Sound of Music, and I saw it was the same actress, Julie Andrews. I read the plot of it. It sounded like she was doing the exact same role, and I'm like, I really want to see more of Julie Andrews doing this kind of role. So I watched The Sound of Music, and I didn't love it the first time I watched it. I definitely really liked it, but I came away from the film and I just could not, for the life of me, stop thinking about it, stop humming the songs, stop singing them, stop going over the lyrics in my head, and just the more and more I watched the film, the more and more I listened to the songs, it just became one of my favorite films of all time. Now, the ending is I do have a little bit of an issue with it. I feel like there's a tonal shift a bit, but it is based on a true story, so I don't really know if I can dock it for that. And it's definitely not bad. I've come to enjoy the ending more over time. Suddenly you're on the edge of your seat, really hoping that this family isn't caught and that they are able to escape. I also didn't buy the relationship between Maria and Captain Von Trapp at first, but once again, the more I watched it, the more and more it worked for me. I love the song Something Good. Of course, you have to talk about the songs in this film, Do Re Mi probably being my favorite, but you also have my favorite things, The Sound of Music, 16 Going on 17, The Lonely Goat Herd, just once again a musical filled to the brim with great music, which I would hope so. It's called The Sound of Music. And it has a great cast, not just Julie Andrews and Christopher Plummer, but all 7 of the children. I love each and every single one of them. Such fun characters that I was dying to see more of when the film was over with. I wish the film was longer. And also the film just looks beautiful. It's so beautiful to look at. You can pause it on almost any shot and there are these beautiful backgrounds to look at. The first minute of this film is just taking you through Salzburg, Austria. And that's another thing. They didn't build any sets really for this. They just used actual backgrounds in Salzburg, Austria. They used an actual mansion or home in Salzburg, Austria. And it is just, this film's so beautiful to look at. I could go on and on about how much I love this film, and I do plan on doing a review for it eventually. Folks, if you have not seen The Sound of Music, go watch it. It's so good, so wholesome, so much fun. It will put the biggest smile on your face. I cannot recommend this movie enough. And we've made it to our top 2, but before we get into it, let me explain. When I say what it is, people will probably be like, what, really, you think those are the greatest musicals of all time? But I'm not saying these are objective, I'm just saying these are my favorite, the films that mean the most to me, and I'll explain once I get into them. But I just love these films so much. I'm not saying these are the greatest movie musicals of all time, these are just my favorite, so just keep that in mind, because I feel like I get a lot of flack for this opinion, but I do not care. I absolutely love these films. And my number 2 is Disney's Descendants. Such a fun concept to me. I grew up with most of the Disney classics, and the Descendants franchise just feels like such a love letter to those Disney classics and the movies that made Disney what it is. It just feels like such a celebration and of Disney, such a love letter to fans, I think it does a wonderful job of combining both classic and modern Disney elements. And for some reason, I just love it when we get to see the children of iconic famous characters, like at the end of the Harry Potter films and in The Legend of Korra, when we see Aang's children and grandchildren. I just love seeing how children are so alike or different from their parents, and that's the case here. I also have a bit of a thing for ancestry. I love figuring out where I came from. My uncle does a family tree on one of those ancestry sites, and I just love it, talking to him about my ancestry and old stories we have. I just love ancestry so much, so that's probably one of the reasons I love this film. But it also is filled to the brim with great music, great cast. A lot of these actors are from other Disney Channel shows and movies that I grew up with, so it's very comforting in a way to see a bunch of these actors that you're familiar with star in a film. Dove Cameron, Cameron Boyce, Boo Boo Stewart, Sophia Carson. I love those 4 core VKs and cast members so much. I just love the story of them being given a chance to be taught goodness, because, you know, they've been taught evil their whole lives, of course. Their parents are some of the most famous Disney villains ever. I just love how they discover that being good and pursuing the righteous path is the way to go come the end, and they experience real love for the first time from people, and just seeing how that changes their hearts and brings them over to the good side come the end just tugs on my heartstrings. I think that is such a wonderful message, showing that goodness is the way to go. Of course, I have to mention some of the songs here. You've got Rotten to the Core, Set It Off, If Only. The Descendants rendition of Be Our Guest is a lot of fun for me. I remember the first time that Rotten to the Core started playing and we saw Dove Cameron turn around and start singing, and we get introduced to all the VKs and they're running around the aisle singing and dancing and parkouring off stuff. That is the moment I fell in love with this franchise, folks. I love this franchise so much. I could talk about it and listen to the music all day. And now we've made it to number 1, and maybe you were able to guess what it is by now, but it is Descendants 2. Somehow they managed to make this sequel better than the original. I just love this film so absolutely much. When they announced this film, I was so excited. I was counting down the days for this film, folks. I could not wait for this film. I watched it the night it came out, and I recorded it in case I missed it, so right after it finished, I watched it again, and then I woke up and watched it the next morning. The songs here, I think, are the best in the franchise. Ways to Be Wicked, What's My Name, Chillin' Like a Villain, Space Between, It's Going Down, You and Me. I love all the songs in this film, and I think it also has the best story of the franchise. The first one's story is really, it competes, but I resonate with the story here a little bit more. Mal struggling to be good. She's been raised all her life as kind of Queen of the Isle, being the daughter of Disney's scariest, most worst villain, being able to run wild, do whatever she wants, kind of command people, get them to do whatever she wants, kind of run things around the aisle, and all of a sudden, has responsibilities as the future queen and as King Ben's girlfriend, and that pressure just getting to her of having to be good, having to look a certain way just gets to her, and she runs back to the aisle and tries to take back her spot as Queen of the Isle, and I really resonate with that in a lot of ways. Shortly after coming to know Christ, we soon discover that it is not easy being a Christian. We face trials in life, and sometimes I've had moments where I wonder, would it just be easier to go back and go back to my evil, fleshly, sinful ways, and maybe it'd be easier, but it most certainly would not be better. And that's just what this film reminds me of. I love how Mal's friends go and get her and try to get her to come back, kind of reminding me of how Jesus kind of seeks us when we go astray. And China Anne McClain here as Uma is so much fun. I love her character in this film when her and her pirate crew capture Ben, and the VKs have to find a way to get him back, and then they get into this sword fight with some pirates. So many fun elements, so many things I love. That's just one thing I love about this franchise. It brings together so many elements that only I think the Descendants franchise could do. So many elements I love that only this franchise could bring together. You get great musical numbers, a great story, you get action, you get a fun sword fight, you get a dragon at the end. I mean, what other franchise can have all that? Descendants 2 is my favorite movie musical of all time. Maybe that'll change one day, but it has been, this film came out in 2017, almost 10 years, and I still have yet to see a musical that even comes close to being able to top it, aside from the first Descendants or The Sound of Music. But there you have it, my top 10 favorite movie musicals of all time. Please leave your list down below. I'm really interested in seeing y'all's lists. And also, explain why you love those musicals so much. It's much more interesting when you explain. And also, if you want to include, some animated musicals or musicals without a film adaptation, please include those as well. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you enjoy my content, and I will see y'all in the next video. Ta-ta.